Welcome to the Whole Athlete Podcast, where we focus on discussing topics to help you become a fat burner, optimize health, and improve performance in life and sports. Transform the whole you from the inside out with the WHOLESTIC Method. Let's dive in. Here's your host, Debbie Potts.
Hey everybody, it's Debbie Potts, your host of the Whole Athlete Podcast, where I started doing an additional podcast every Thursday to chat with you about how you can become a fat-adapted athlete, how you can improve your mitochondria function and improve performance for life, as we focus on not just our performance in daily life and races, but also in our future, our longevity. So as I've shared since we started the show, originally called Fit, Fat, Fast, how to become fat adapted, improve metabolic efficiency, back in 2011 with my co-host, John Smith, I have now continued this podcast and sharing my journey of life is not a race, the WHOLESTIC Method, and how to become a fat-adapted athlete. So, as you may have heard on recent podcasts, I am closing my fitness studio after 12 years. It's a sad transition, but exciting at the same time, because I'm going to, remove a major stress. One of my identified external stressors is running a business by myself on top of training clients every day, doing the podcast. I used to coach more athletes than I do now. I used to train for triathlons a lot more hours a week, and doing all the admin and marketing and accounting and all that stuff is a lot of work. And even today I came into the studio Monday morning, having a great morning, had some great conversations during my workout at my gym, and then I come in and there's a leak in the ceiling. The water filter has a hole in it from some rodent in the ceiling. So it's like, you know what? I'm doing the right thing. I'm closing my business mostly because we're being kicked out, because my building that was supposed to be torn down years ago is finally being torn down and becoming another high-rise in downtown Bellevue, Seattle area. If you've been there, Amazon's taken over the world, including Bellevue, building lots of high-rise built office towers. So I'm sharing this with you because my podcast has always been something I love to do that makes me happy. And, if people are listening, that's great. I am kind of excited when I hear from people, especially I had some emails from the UK and Australia, and it's really cool to reach out to people around the world that are interested in becoming a fat-adapted athlete and improving their health and getting rid of feeling tired and burned out and broken all the time. So now my new journey is to put all this training and experience and my own discoveries, put it together into one program. And the WHOLESTIC Method, training the whole athlete to improve your ability to burn fat, optimize health, your mitochondria, and improve performance, is going to be my focus. And as I found out over the years, I'm not very good at doing multiple projects at once. So running my fitness studio was more than I could handle. And, I couldn't really do a lot of the podcast and really focus on building it up as much as I wish I could have until now, and doing online coaching. So this program that I created and I've been kind of working on, and it's evolved since I opened 12 years ago, used to be the 21-day sugar detox program. It has now become the WHOLESTIC Method 30-day total transformation program, where I teach people, athletes of all level, to become a fat burner or fat adapted or keto or whatever you want to call it. For endurance athletes, we can become metabolically efficient and improve our metabolic flexibility, so we can be burning fat, and then as we get more fat adapted, you can add in some carbohydrates when appropriate and still get back into burning fat. So You will be able to find more information on my website, wpotts.net. Also on Facebook, I added the low carb athlete page, and then I'll make, I did open a private page, but I haven't started doing it. That once people start doing my monthly programs, we'll have a private forum page where we can ask questions to each other, and I can post articles and links and meal ideas and stuff. So until then, the Low Carb Athlete on Facebook is where I'm putting research and different links to articles that I find as I study and collect information for my ebook that I'm putting together in a webinar to help people become fat adapted, which is with the holistic method, which, if you haven't heard me say on different episodes, the holistic method, training the whole athlete from the inside out for performance longevity, entails 8 elements. So the 8 elements are nutrition and exercise, sleep, stress, movement and mobility is one area. Then we have digestion and gut health, and our hormone balance comes in there. And next we have hydration, which most people don't drink enough water. And then we've got important one, happiness. We don't play enough. We're often too serious, and we don't be silly and laugh enough. So that is how I coach people. It's not just changing your macros to get you to be burning fat and balancing your blood sugar, but all these different elements impact one another, like the spokes in your wheel. If one spoke is out, your wheel is going to be out of alignment, untrued. So we want to make sure we're identifying your external and internal stressors. We're working on quality of sleep and sleep hygiene, what you're doing before you go to bed. Are you dimming the lights, making the room cold, getting off your electronics, reading in bed, and stopping eating earlier? So I teach all this in my online group program. I'm also going to be doing individual coaching for up to 10 athletes per month that want to go a little deeper, that are dealing with more chronic fatigue issues and unexplained symptoms that they just cannot feel better. So in October, I will be going to Ironman Hawaii and creating a meetup and seminar with Dr. Paul Larson, the prof. We will be hopefully having Generation UCAN join us, and Aaron Carson from Rally Sport, who does mobility strength training for athletes, and myself talking about the holistic method and how to train the whole athlete to avoid breakdown and burnout. So with that, I do want to share what I've been working on. As a lot of you know, I became a nutritional therapy practitioner 3 years ago, and that's working on building the foundations up, our digestion, blood sugar regulation, essential fatty acid balance, mineral balance, hydration, and all of those foundations. We eat a whole food, nutrient dense diet to balance your blood sugar. So all these things, when we start with north to south, I was working with what we're eating, how we're eating, and how we're absorbing our food, and when we're eating. I want to add too, that's with intermittent fasting, time restricted eating. But all that really helps your hormone balance, your HPA access, your neurotransmitters. So we also find, our immune system's better when we work on the gut health. And with the nutritional therapy practitioner training, I am adding on some other courses, some education I've had over the years, including Paul Chek, the Chek Institute. Years ago, I did the Holistic Lifestyle Coach Program. I've done Ben Greenfield's Superhuman program back in 2010, 11, and then he did a new program this last fall. I was a beta tester for the Keon Coach program with, I think there's 100 of us around the world. It's pretty cool. A 6-month program we did, and we met every week online and have different topics, kind of a lot of what's on Ben's blogs and his Beyond Training book. So it was really fun. And I did DNA Fit coach program to learn how to take people's raw data, which you can get your raw data, genetic data from 23andMe or Ancestry DNA, upload that information into DNA Fit, and we can get a lot of information there. But also, I like people to take that raw data when I'm doing my individual coaching with them and upload it into Dr. Ben Lynch. He has a great book, Dirty Genes, that I love reading, read it a few times, and put your raw data into his program called Strategene. And there's a couple other free ones out there, and there's MTHR and Beyond. He has a link to a genetic program you can upload your data to as well. So, I really think that's how I've gotten to finally feel better about my health, and my energy is improving, and I'm starting to lose fat weight finally, is combining all this information together. I always say N equals 1. We're all unique bio individuals, so there is not one program fits all. We might talk about keto, fat adapted, but what carbs, fat, protein ratio you need is so different. And we talk a lot about metabolic typing, slow oxidizer, fat oxidizer. I've taken a lot of information out for myself for the genetic profile, where I'm slower, fast, methylator of different genetic SNPs that I have, and knowing, I don't eat a lot of red meat, and I haven't really eaten a lot of animal meat since I was 12 years old. So I'm really trying to learn how to get over that and add more meat, because I need L-carnitine, I need more aminos, I need iron because I was anemic, and the B vitamins. Those are all in the animal meats, and the getting your eggs and the choline. There's just so much nutrients that we need from those good sourced happy animal meats. It's just being able to eat them is my hard thing, but trying my best. Anyways, the point is today to share the program that I'm going to be doing and how I can help with the podcast and my blog and my group coaching and individual coaching, putting this information together to help train the whole athlete to improve performance and longevity. What I'm also finishing up with, and I'll take a month off work so I can finish focusing on my certification, and what I'm going to go do after this podcast recording is become a FDN practitioner. It's called Functional Diagnostic Nutrition Practitioner, where I can order functional labs. You'll see the word I keep writing a lot of blogs and podcasting about, and social media posts about metabolic chaos. And as an FDN practitioner, it really goes in sync with what I've been talking about for years, the holistic method, working on improving the whole you and transforming the whole you from the inside out. They do the same thing in FDN. We use a DRESS protocol, which is D stands for diet, R is rest, E exercise, stress is S, and then supplementation is the other S, dress for success protocol. So we work on that with people. We do identify external and internal stressors. So our internal stressors are our hidden stressors. Hidden starts for H is hormones, I is immune, digestion, detoxification, energy, and nervous system. So FDN practitioner work really complements everything I'm doing. And with my personal story, Life is Not a Race, that I shared and wrote and published on Amazon 2015, I haven't, I wrote it, shared all this information, and the manual, the Holistic Method Manual workbook, is on Amazon as well. That has a chapter on each of these elements. I published that in 2016. But now I'm finally able to focus on sharing this information the right way and building an online program, building a business, and following my passion and my purpose, and how to create impact in the world outside of the U.S. and North America and going up Europe. I really want to share this information with others, really how you can improve your performance longevity with the holistic method. It's not just about our nutrition. It's not just about your exercise training program. There's a lot more we need to focus on. And of course, I'm not the science person. I'm not research. I can pull up research articles and everything I talk about, but I just simplify everything and try to take the sciencey stuff and information that, like, my friend Mike Mutzel will share, and listen to different doctors and that I listen to in books and podcasts, and really share that information into simple terms for people like me that aren't the science brains and just want to understand it. So as an FDN practitioner, I'll be using it as another tool. I'll be able to order lab tests for people and put this information as another tool in my pocket to help put the pieces of the puzzle together as we identify the areas of opportunity or the weak links, so to speak, in our body systems that's causing or connecting to other areas that are causing dysfunction and imbalances in our body. And a lot of that, as you know, comes from chronic stress as it impacts every system in our body, creating cascade of dysfunction, or as I said, metabolic chaos that the founder of FDN calls, Reed Davis called it metabolic chaos. Instead of, the chronic stress, we always said adrenal fatigue, adrenal exhaustion, but it's really HPA axis dysfunction, but I really like metabolic chaos. It just makes sense to people. So chronic stress impacts your ability to burn fat, optimize health, and your performance for sure. And I explained everything that happened to me starting back in March 2013, that I was a train wreck. That's like I'm on my bike ride, I'm suddenly tired and can't pedal, and then the wheels just fall off. Haven't been quite the same since. And I look back, and I wrote this all in my book, but I was trying to identify, how can I not see this happen? Where were those red flags? How was I so oblivious to them that suddenly one day I have no energy to pedal on a bike ride and I have to pretty much crawl home, and could have used an Uber to get back there. It was a sad day, emotional day, and I've been on a roller coaster since. And until I've figured out with my own journey, my own experimentation, and my own training and reading lots of books, I found that, as I said, we're all different, we're all unique, and the genetic SNPs, contribute, as well as these hidden internal stressors that we don't know about unless we do lab testing. So you have to spend money doing the lab testing out of your pocket, because sadly, I went to 10 different doctors, and barely any of them paid for the lab testing that I needed, that I got through a practitioner naturopath. So it does cost money. Sadly, traditional medicine or insurance doesn't cover the functional labs. But really, when you get to the state that I was in, I would pay anything to feel better and be able to get my body back, strength back, my endurance, and just energy, and that makes me feel good when I'm fit and strong. I'm just a happier person, and my mood's steadier, and I don't have those blood sugar crashes, because every stress response is a blood sugar response. And that's another area I'm trying to get across to low carb athletes, keto conferences, is that chronic stress impacts your ability to burn fat. As I went through my journey and gained 30 pounds in a few months, I was, for a long time before that, being a low carb athlete. I was eating lots of healthy fats. I made the switch from a high carb to high fat diet and became a metabolically efficient athlete. I was training at high heart rates, burning a ton of fat. I had amazing aerobic engine and furnace to burn fat. And I was doing fasted workouts. I was doing my fat bulletproof coffee and not eating a lot. But the thing is, I was probably not eating enough, and my body was fragile. I was burning the candles at both ends, starting early in the morning, going to late at night, never stopping. Now I have to rest in between and lay down for 10 minutes, and then I go do something else. But it is a learning experience and a long journey. So I'm helping you identify these red flags that our body sends us. I'm trying to help you learn how to prevent the chronic fatigue disease, as I say, before it gets to be too bad that you'll spend years like I've had healing and recovering and repairing your body from that damage internally that you could be doing right now. So I learned firsthand that any type of excessive nonstop stress that becomes chronic disrupts our natural homeostasis, leads to loss of function, or rather creates dysfunction. Dysfunction of our body systems lead to a loss of ease or dis-ease. Then we find ourselves with multiple dysfunction, which results in metabolic chaos. And this is what the FDN Practitioner Program is about, and what Reed Davis has created, over 12 years ago. So it's pretty amazing, this focus on chronic stress, how it impacts everything. He's been helping people with the lab testing and the Dress for Success program. So I'm on the right journey. It's hard to close my fitness studio and have clients I've had for 10, 20 years and just trying to, train people 2 days a week and make sure I have time to do all this Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. So if we don't identify red flags, our body sends us, even now, you might have had some today, you have no idea. We start to experience unexplained symptoms. Suddenly we feel fatigued and not to our normal self anymore. Perhaps you felt this way as I did starting back in 2013 when we began to search for the answers and have someone else put the pieces of the puzzle together for us. I just wanted to feel alive and thrive again, and I was feeling depressed because I didn't have the ability to train and race anymore as I was weak, overweight, fat, and exhausted. I searched so many different doctors in the area, practitioners, people online, naturopaths, anyone help fix me and bring me back to life. I realized that we were only treating my long list of symptoms. I would feel better than when I tried to do what I used to do when I felt tired, overfat, depressed again. I was just trying to take one step forward and 2 steps back. So I was saying I'd feel better for a little bit, but then I start to push myself, maybe do too much, and then I was going backwards instead of forwards. But I couldn't understand why this is happening to me. But I figured this out in the long run over these years. If we only treat our symptoms, even if I was getting functional detailed labs, finding out our imbalances, my gut health, my nutrient deficiencies, we only feel good temporarily. As a nutritional therapy practitioner, and soon when I'm an FDN practitioner, I'll be implementing this different trainings I've had into my coaching program, the WHOLESTIC Method. In order to feel alive and thriving each day, we need to put those pieces of the puzzle together and combine the WHOLESTIC Method approach. So we'll do the functional lab testing, nutritional therapy assessment, nutritional therapy functional evaluation if people are local, genetic testing using programs as DNA Fit and Strategene, the WHOLESTIC Method lifestyle improvement, so working on those 8 elements I shared earlier, metabolic typing assessment to find out if you're a slow or fast oxidizer, and if we can, find a place to do metabolic efficiency testing, exercise on the treadmill, a bike, or at rest, and find out your fat burning capacity, your metabolic crossover point where you switch from burning fat to carbohydrates, and we can figure out your fat adaptation process with that information and combining it with nutrition to figure out what you should be eating and how much that you can tolerate that you balance your blood sugar and keep in that fat burning. Maybe showing ketones 0.5 to 3.0, and maybe if you're training harder, higher heart rates, you could add a little more, tolerate a little more carbohydrates. And if you're doing longer workouts on the weekends, you may be able to tolerate a little more carbohydrates and still shift back into fat burning. And they kind of give you, once you add those carbs back in when appropriate on a race or a long training workout near the end, like I had a little time trial end of my bike rides after I keep my heart rate down low, and then I hit it faster, higher heart rates at the end. And if you do some higher intensity intervals during the week, you may need some more carbohydrates, but it feels like you're putting lighter fluid on a fire. You just feel this extra burst of energy when you don't have those carbohydrates and you throw it in. It's kind of like, I think of it as caffeine. When you take out caffeine, then put it back in, it's like, whoa, magic power. So you add a little extra fire to your workout. So the WHOLESTIC Method Coaching Program, individually we'll work on finding the answers, working together, put those pieces of the puzzle together. But we should be looking at the whole picture, as lab testing and supplementation is only part of the solution. When I was seeing all these different people to get help, I posted a picture not too long ago on Instagram of like all the piles of my lab testing that I had over 2 years. That was just 2 years. And I had, I think, 15 different piles of papers from different lab results, different doctors too. And that wasn't the answer. Everyone would just give me supplements, and it wasn't fixing the problem. Just getting a lab test and supplement is only part of it. Treating the symptoms is similar to placing a Band-Aid on the problem. Instead, we should be looking at the why and work on correlating the answers. We need to put the pieces of the puzzle together, or else we just continue to have the symptoms downstream. We need to work north and work our way, start from north and work our way south using the lab's nutritional assessment, food log with your symptoms, food sensitivities, lifestyle habits, and your genetic SNPs. As a FDN practitioner, as well as a nutritional therapist, my job as a health coach is to use all the tools that I have, including functional labs, to identify your healing opportunities to help you restore function and balance back to homeostasis, the optimal normal, your homeostasis. The secret sauce on restoring your health and vitality is your commitment to adopting the new lifestyle behaviors. The nutritional therapy and our healing therapy plan that we identify together it takes commitment. And I've, taken a long time because, as I said, it's easy to take one step forward, 2 steps back. But if you're not motivated to do your workout or do your homework, or it's hard to work together, get the results that you want. So as a practitioner, we work with clients to help them rebuild, as we say in FDN, that will rebuild their vital and metabolic reserve while we coach down the contributors to metabolic chaos to help you return to the land of vitality. As we work together to create individualized plans to solve your experiences with metabolic chaos, the symptoms ideally will disappear in time when we get the right plan for you. As we don't treat anything specific, since we're not treating the symptoms, but we treat the whole body as one system and get the engine running back up to optimal level. Remember, healing takes time, and I know it takes a long time, as my healing journey has taken to rebuild and renew myself since 2013, and now I'm recording this, it's the middle of 2019. And it's taken a lot of patience and staying positive and just keep working at it. But it's identifying your external triggers as well as internal stressors. As I said, my job, my studio, not my clients, that's a fun part, but the business side of running a business and the overhead and my high rent every month, it's a struggle. It's physically, mentally draining. So healing takes time. And you have to have reasonable expectations and know it's not going to be 1 month. As I thought when I started this, I wanted someone to fix me now. I had Ironman Canada to do. End of August that year, I was having Hanu, end of 70.3. That was beginning of June. I was like, all right, I've got 2 months. I need to get better now. I was impatient. But that didn't work, obviously. Look how long it's taken me to get better. So a new you must be built with a new approach how to live life each day. As Reed Davis tells us, the symptoms may far be removed from the causal factors or stressors found upstream. So as a practitioner, I'll work on improving the function of the body systems with you to help with the right assessments to identify those internal and external stressors we talked about with the functional lab work. I think that's a big thing. So what I'll be able to do is take my nutritional therapy assessments that I do and looking at symptoms and putting those with your body systems that we have a NutriQ, a questionnaire, and the metabolic typing questionnaire, figure out which food type you are, fast or slow oxidizer. And then lab testing as right for individual clients. The biohealth or the Dutch test for hormones is saliva, or the Dutch test is a dried urine test. The Biohealth 101's metabolic assessment profile that we'll use to assess your protein digestion, liver detoxification, oxidative stress. Then we can use a Genova intestinal permeability to look at your signs and symptoms of leaky gut. Then the Biohealth 401 GI pathogen screening is stool testing for gut infection and infestation of parasites, bacteria, fungus, yeast, and biofilms. And then the last basic test we use in these 5 different tests that will be included in a program is called the Oxford Mediator Release Test, MRT, or the ELISA Act, for identifying food sensitivities that may cause stress via inflammation and irritating the gut. So stool culture to assess the pathology of dysbiosis, including trichome stains, stool antigens, yeast, H. pylori, those are included in the GI pathogen screen. So these different labs will help us get to different hidden stressors and then work on the nutrition, the sleep, the stress, the supplements that you might need to get your body back in homeostasis. I think this is an area that endurance athletes are missing. There's so many athletes out there that are like me that I talked to at Ironman Hawaii and that reach out to me on the podcast that have chronic stress, because I think we're trying to train at high levels on top of a busy workday and family life, family duties. I can't imagine if I had kids. I don't have kids. It's just my husband and I. So it's a lot of work to keep the right schedule and not cause extra stress, chronic stress. Stress is good. Remember, stress is good. I've got a free ebook on my website on stress and liver detoxification you can grab on debbiepotts.net to learn more. But remember, it's chronic stress, the nonstop stress from morning you wake up to the time you go to bed. That is not good. So we want acute doses, those hormetic stressors, not the chronic stress. So next time I'll talk a little bit more about HPA dysfunction and talk about sympathetic dominance and all that HRV, and all this will come up next episode of Real Thoughts with Debbie Potts. But we're out of time today, but make sure you share this podcast if you love what you're learning. Help us grow, and check out the website debbiepotts.net for more blogs and links to my favorite items. And I'm starting to create these hats, these cool trucker hats that I love, and t-shirts to be the fat adapted athlete. So I can change it if you like fat fueled athlete or fat adapted athlete, or should I make it say the metabolically efficient athlete, which is more words. So anyways, I will stop talking to you, and I hope to hear from you. Please reach out, send me a message via the website or on Instagram, the Low Carb Athlete, or check out my new Facebook page. We still have the Whole Athlete podcast, but the Low Carb Athlete page, I'll be adding the fat adapted keto endurance and all sorts of different research links on fasting and whatever else come across my way, I will share with you on that page. So please share the info, and if you can go to iTunes, leave a review to help get more exposure of the podcast, because this is my new full-time job starting on October, so I need your help. And stay tuned this fall. I'm creating a fat adapted webinar after Ironman Hawaii, end of October. I'll do it on a Wednesday, the last 2 Wednesdays, I think, of October 2019. And then we'll have our monthly 30-day challenges starting November. Perfect time to become metabolically efficient and fat adapted for an athlete is your off season. So we're going to get as many people as we can to do our online program November, December, January, February, and March probably, and then April start your training. So let's get going. Reach out if you have any questions. Help you become a fat adapted athlete by reducing your chronic stress and optimizing your health, improving your performance longevity along the way. Signing off, Debbie Potts. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Whole Athlete Podcast. If you have any questions, feedback, or topic suggestions, let us know on Facebook or at wholeathletepodcast.com. You can help us continue and grow by leaving a review on iTunes. Thanks again, and see you next time.